Welcome to Locales Unknown. This podcast gives you the tools you need to choose your next travel destination and the tips you want to be able to explore like a local. Here are your hosts, Chris and Winfield.
Hello, everyone. Today we are here with Andrea Bissoni, and she is kind enough to join us from Santa Catarina in Brazil. She recently just got down there, and she's now living in Pentagon City outside of Washington, D.C. But thank you for coming on the show and speaking with us today. We have lots to talk about.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here talking about my city. I hope everybody enjoy information that I would like to share with you about the region that I live.
Definitely. So give us a little bit of background, please, about where you grew up, Santa Catarina, the region, Valley Europeo, European Valley, etc. Please.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Indaial. Indaial is a small city in Santa Catarina state, and it's close to Blumenau. Blumenau, I think, is the most famous city of European Valley Europeu in Portuguese. Blumenau is famous because of the Oktoberfest. Some people maybe know that Blumenau is the Oktoberfest in Blumenau is the second largest Oktoberfest in the world. So the festival is really famous. A lot of food, tradition, beer, dance. Blumenau was colonized by Germans, so that's the reason. Actually, they start the Oktoberfest because of a big flood that happened on 1984, and they start the Oktoberfest with the objective to raise funds to the city. So because of that, every year they did the event again, and nowadays it's really famous. A lot of people go to Blumenau. A lot of people from outside of Brazil as well, not only from Brazil. So almost my friends and I, we wear costumes like Fritz and Frida, the name of the costumes, the German costumes. So since, I don't know, my 15 years old, I start to celebrate my birthday on the Oktoberfest, because my birthday is on October 12th, so it's like in the middle of the Oktoberfest. So every year I went with my friends to celebrate my birthday there. Of course, during the pandemic, it's not happening in like 2 years that we don't have. But every year since my 15, I celebrate there. So it's really nice. I really like the Oktoberfest and the food, the traditions, the party, the dance. A lot of German bands play there, so it's really nice.
One big birthday party for you, huh? Everyone's there to celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah. So also the European Valley that I mentioned, on this region you also can find another city. The name is Pomerode. Pomerode is like the most German city in Brazil. Is more than Blumenau. Most of the people there, like the people who lives there, speak German, and also they have a big festival in Easter. They decorate the cities, and there's like lights on the streets and the Easter decoration, and a lot of people go there to visit the city during that period. They have really good bakeries there with German food, like Kuka is the most popular German cake. So you can find in Blumenau as well, Pomerode, all cities here. But Pomerode is the most German city in Brazil. And also there's something specific there that I really love, is a chocolate. The name is Nugali, is a factory that is from Pomerode. So it's very taste is very delicious. So you should go to Pomerode when you came to this region. So what else? We have a lot of cities here in the region. So you also will find like mountain. Rio dos Cedros is the name of this place. So you can find nature with like waterfalls, beautiful views, landscape. We usually go on this region on the winter because it's a little bit colder than Blumenau and the other cities. We eat locally produced cheese with wine, and most of the house has a fireplace. So it's really nice, and the house has the German architecture. So it's different. Like it's not the same as everybody knows. Like Rio de Janeiro or Carnival, it's totally different from the other place in Brazil. So everybody here has Italian or German origins, like the family. In my case, I'm not German. My family is not from Germany, but my parents, my great grandfather was born in Italy. So we keep some traditions from Italy, like cook polenta every Saturday. I don't know, drink wine. My uncle usually produces his own wine to drink in his house. So yeah, there's some interesting things in this region, and it's not so popular, but I really recommend to come to European Valley, Vale Europeu in Brazil.
Well, it sounds like a hidden gem because I don't necessarily think, when I think of Brazil, that there is an European influence that's isolated down at the southern part of the country that almost seems like a mini Euro oasis. And I don't want to spend, the entire episode talking about Oktoberfest, but I think the festival itself is definitely, it is well known, but not a lot of people know what the day in, day out of the festival is. They just think, it's a month-long celebration. Do you mind spending just a couple of minutes with us, kind of telling us what it is that we're celebrating and what would a day or 2 or 3 look like if you can survive that long at Oktoberfest?
Yeah, it's like 17 days of Oktoberfest. So every year during 70 days, we have like, you can go to the Villa Germanica is the, how can I say that in English? I think is the place that we celebrate the event. So I think it's Germanic Village Park, something
Germanic
like that
Village.
in English.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can go like during the day to eat, like I would like to have lunch, so you can go there, eat like German food, drink beer, or you can go at the end of the day and eat as well, but you can dance, you can drink, and there are some like things to children as well, like some
Kinderfests, right?
maybe, I don't know. So yeah, there's some options to children like to play, and there options to every people like from any age. During the afternoon, you also have like dance for like old people, and they try to do events or things to everybody participate. So it's not just for like young to dance during the night, but you can go like during the day to have to do a lot of things. And I think every Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not sure about the exactly dates, but at least 2 or 3 times per week we have a parade. So everybody wear the costumes and drink beer while they are walking on the November 15th Avenue Street, and it's really nice. So you also should see the parade during the festival.
There's so many things that you discussed there that I want to pick up on. Personally, I'll admit I've never heard of Pomerode, but now I kind of want to go over to Localiza and rent a car and drive down right away.
It's really fantastic. Close. It's like 20 minutes from Blumenau to go to Pomerode.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But what you
all cities on this region is really close.
Well, that's helpful, because when you think of Brazil, you think really vast distances, really far apart. So that's good to know that things are nearby. But one thing that I wanted to pick up on that you mentioned is that the festival, the Oktoberfest, actually came out of tragedy with the flood in 1984, and I think that that's a really key point, especially in these times now where we're hopefully on the other side of the COVID pandemic, that sometimes positive things can come out of tragedies. And it's interesting that it became such a huge event for the city, but also known worldwide. The fact that it rose to such prominence is really interesting to me personally.
Yeah, it is. And for all people from Blumenau, is like they are really proud about the event. So it's a really big thing here. So everybody is looking for, like, next year, hope we can have the Oktoberfest again. I don't know exactly the year that it started, but some years ago, they start to do a summer fest. I think it's January, maybe it's more days than Oktoberfest. I'm not sure about now, but is usually in January. So is another opportunity to come to Blumenau and visit and go to the Summerfest. So the name is Sommerfest, like in German, not summer like English. So it's another good opportunity to see because it happened on the same place, the Germanic. It's not famous as Oktoberfest, but it's really good. We have, as you can imagine, we have a lot of beer factories here. Like in the German village, you find, I don't know, a lot of different types of beer, a lot of different type of food, German food, of course. But yeah, I really like this kind of event and the opportunity that we have here to know about our culture. And you should come to Blumenau. My recommendation is to come or on October during the Oktoberfest, or in January to go to the Summerfest as well. But you also have options like other things to do, like hiking, cycling, not only in Blumenau, but in the cities close. So all European Valley each city is like 20, 30 minutes to go each city. So you usually people stay in Blumenau because it's more popular. There are more options, like things to do and also place to eat. But they like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to Pomerodi and I will spend the day there to visit the city. So, and the other day you can go to Rio dos Cedros, the place that I said is a mountain, and spend the day or the weekend there. So you can hiking, you can cycling on those cities. There are a lot of beautiful places to see, and they have like a route. They have like an instructor to follow their maps. So nice. It's not like, oh, you cannot go by yourself. You have some structure, I would say. So it's really nice.
I feel like if people aren't listening closely, they might think this episode's on Munich, Germany, because everything just sounds like we're over in Germany right there, which makes me curious as to, anytime I've interacted with anyone from Brazil, they're so proud of their heritage, so proud of their country. How do you find that in your region that blends between the European heritage and the pride of being a Brazilian?
It's crazy because I'm actually, like, from my father and my mother's side, both are from, like, the origins from Italy. But in the same way, I have a lot of friends who has, I don't know, father, grandfather, or great grandfather from Germany or from other European country. And it's really nice because we know a lot of culture and a lot of things from like Italy or Germany, but we also have a lot of things from Brazil. Like sometimes I have some Italian friends or German friends as well, and they said, no, we don't have that here, because it's something like we create in Brazil, but in the same way we keep some things like similar there, so it's a mix. So I'm really proud of that, because I'm really proud of Brazil and to be a Brazilian, but I also can say I'm a little bit of Italian as well. So it's nice, and I think this is the thing that everybody from Brazil is proud, because I think I never met anybody like, oh, I'm from Brazil, my parents are from here since forever. That at least I never met any person. I know there's some in some specific regions in Brazil, but like I lived in Santa Catarina, and I lived in São Paulo as well. So everybody from those places are not from that specific state. So I think we are proud of this mix of culture. And the only thing that I'm not proud is I never learned to speak Italian, and I have some aunts that they speak, and also my grandmother speaks as well. So this is something that I would like to maybe learn someday. My cousin lives in Italy, and he speaks Italian. So I think the only thing that I miss on this part was that. But the other like cultural traditions, I tried. Like I know cook polenta, for example. I love wine, of course. I cannot make, but maybe one day. So it's really nice to keep these things, and this is something that I would like to keep on my family one day. So, and I think everybody continue to do the same here, like everybody that I know from other countries as well. So
you're not alone
That's
at all,
interesting.
because my dad lived
go
in
ahead.
Italy for about 20 years, and I have some Italian heritage, and I still don't know much Italian at all. And you're doing much better, because I don't know how to cook polenta. So that's about
easy.
it. But it's something that we can relate to as Americans, as far as having that multi-heritage. So especially first, second, third generation. And you probably experienced this with your exposure in New York as well as Miami, where people still have those traditions of the home country and those deep ties and roots, but also have that burning desire and pride of being an American and a citizen, or just being in the States alone. So it's not all around the world that you'd experience that, melting pot of various cultures. So it's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. That was a perfect segue to what you were just saying, and Chris as well, about preservation of heritage, because this might be completely misplaced, but in terms of the U.S., typically by the third or fourth generation, a lot of the traditions from the home country are lost, whether that be language, culture, things of that nature. And obviously that's a generalization. I'm not saying that's every case. But from what you're saying about 4 generations, and the fact that you don't speak Italian, we'll take that out of the mix, because to me, and of course, Chris studied Italian. Italian's a mix of Spanish and French. Now, that might be an oversimplification, but it's not something that you couldn't learn one day. So I guess my question is, in terms of the preservation of culture, being Santa Catarina rather, being so German and having that Italian mix, and the fact that you still feel like you're in Europe because of the architecture, because of the climate, because of the valley, is that something that, as Chris was asking, you have that Brazilian pride, of course, that's the country, that's the place where you live, but you still feel a little bit like you're in Europe.
Yeah. And if you saw like the pictures from Blumenau, from Pomerode. A lot of people think, no, it's in Brazil, really? And yeah, it's
exactly.
like
Yeah, that's my. You made my
a lot
point
of people
for me.
think, oh no, it's not Brazil. And yeah, it is. So
Right.
it's really nice. Yeah, I like this kind of thing. So, but I'm proud to be Brazilian as well, because I have some like some traditions that there's not from Italy or German as well. So as I mentioned, some friends said, because for example, my grandmother, there's a tradition. Every Saturday we cook polenta on my grandmother's house. Since she was, I don't know, young, she cooks banana with a like sweet cream, and she put in the oven. And this is not from Italy. I don't know where she learned this, but banana with like sweet banana with salt food is a mix of German culture. So this is something she did. She started to do here. I said that to my Italian friend one day, and he said, "No, we don't have this in Italy." And I said, "Yeah, I think it's a Brazilian thing." So we start to do new things as well, because we mix with like other cultures, like from indigenous people or from other European countries, and we create like our own food, or it's similar of like Italy or German, but it's not the same. So it's nice.
That's the evolution of food and a lot of other things as far as culture goes too. I mean, you bring a mix of one thing of your heritage, you find some new ingredients or new ways to do it, and you make it your own and call it home. So I think that's kind of cool. But I wanted to ask, just because it is this little European oasis within Brazil, how do you look at the other cities or the other regions when you go and travel in your country, in Brazil? Does it look almost like you're in a foreign country compared to where you're used to?
No. For example, São Paulo is totally different. So, and also because São Paulo has more mix than here, like from other countries, like Japanese people or Lebanese, or yeah, there's a lot of you know that in São Paulo there's the second biggest Japanese community outside of Japan. So it's, for me, it's really nice, because the architecture is totally different, everything's totally different, and yeah, it's not the same. So I think here is totally European environment, I would say. And I don't know if you can find any other place in Brazil like here. You need to go to Europe. Probably to Italy, German, or other countries. But actually, when I went to Italy in 2016, I feel like, I think I know, I have a feeling like I know here. I don't know why. I never been in Germany, but the pictures that I saw look like Pomerode, like Blumenau, like the cities that I mentioned. So it's so cool.
So coming back to Santa Catarina, and for our listeners, a bit of context, in the late 1800s, the then Emperor of Brazil, basically there was a lot of land grants that were given if people from Europe came to develop the land, to farm the land. So predominantly this heritage, as we've discussed, Italian, German, some other countries as well, but those were the main beneficiaries. Of course, this area looked a lot like home, and as we've talked about, so there was that similarity there. But in terms of other places, tell us a little bit about Joinville, the capital. What is it? The same appearance outwardly as Pomerodi or Blumenau? Is it a little bit different? What do you think about that?
Joinville is German. It was influenced by German as well, but it's not the same. Maybe you find some streets that looks like the architecture. This word's really hard. But in general, no, is not the same. And when you go like to like Florianopolis and other cities, like in the beach, there's a lot of influence from Portugal. So the architecture there is really similar of Portugal. You can see the difference between the cities. So Florianopolis, there are a lot of places like you feel like you're in Portugal. On this region here, there are a lot of cities, but it's Blumenau, Pomerode, Ilha, Rio Cedros, Guaramirim, Nova Trento. It's a lot of cities. Is the European Valley is more like, we call European Valley, but the most important influence are from Italy and Germany. There are more, but in the overall. So if you go to Florianopolis, it's not the same. It's Portuguese influence. So and it's really different. There's a lot of, I don't know, seafood, fish from the dishes, the thing that you can find like in terms of food is totally different from Blumenau, for example. And there are some cities that it's like a mix of a lot of things, and you cannot say, oh, this city it seems like, I don't know, Portugal, or because there's no like identity. Mm-hmm. So, but I would say because of the amount of people that came to this region here, and because we keep the same traditions, that's the reason they call this region like European Valley. So when you're coming, for example, when you come to Santa Catarina, the closest airport is Navegantes, is on the beach. So it's like an hour from Navegantes to Blumenau. It's really close. It's like 65 kilometers. I think it's like 35 miles, I would say. So it's really close. And so when you come, you see a lot of signs on the lines, on the street, on the roads, saying, oh, Vale Europeu in, I don't know, 5 miles. So it's really popular. This is not something like we call in like us, but you can see the signs on the streets. And for example, when you arrive in Pomerodi or Blumenau, you will see like a sign, welcome to Blumenau, in Portuguese, but also you see in German. So there are some like this kind of things you can see a lot, or the name of place. There's a lot of popular restaurants or bakeries that you can see like German names. A lot of people speak German, so it's more clear that it's from Germany or Italy than other cities. I don't think Joinville is like that. Maybe you can find some streets or something, but it's not the same.
Right. So Joinville is more Brazilian, different. A nice mix of everything.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned Floripa, which is internationally known. Some call it the Ibiza of South America.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about it. For surfers, this is your place to be. The Atlantic Ocean waves there are second to none. But it's also one of the most popular islands, vacation destinations for Brazilians. So give us a little context about Florianopolis, please.
Yeah, Florianopolis is an island. So it's the capital of Santa Catarina. I think there are more than 40 beaches there. So there's a lot of options. So, well, for me, I really like Jurerê, is the name of the beach. I think it's the most popular one as well. But for example, if you go to Santo Antônio de Lisboa, the name of the beach, is that place is like you will feel like you're in Portugal. It's totally the architecture, the food, the traditions, everything is really similar of Portugal, and is really nice. You'll find a lot of clubs, also very popular. So besides the beach, you find clubs. There's nightclubs and also beach clubs. So this is something really popular there. So I think that's the reason they call Ibiza, because of the clubs. And you also have, of course, some market food, so you can buy fish or, I don't know, traditional manufactured things like, I don't know, I don't know the name in English, is something that is handmade. So yeah, so there's a lot of things. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to do there as well. For example, if you came to Santa Catarina, I recommend like a trip to came to European Valley and another trip to go to Florianopolis, because Florianopolis is huge. There's a lot of things to do there, a lot of beach. So you can also find in place to hiking in Florianopolis, that a lot of beautiful place to do that. And also there's dunes in Florianopolis.
Sand dunes.
So yeah, sand dunes. Awesome. So it's really nice. So you can find different landscapes, and yeah, it's really nice. So for example, I don't think maybe one week will be not enough to see the beautiful things that they have in Florianopolis. There's a beach. The name is Ilha do Campeche. It's like a Caribbean beach. So the water is really like blue, clean. It's very nice. To go there, you need to go by boat. There's different things to do, and almost everything is related to beach and eat. But you can also find mountains, waterfalls, and to do hiking, cycling, this kind of things.
Glad you brought up the time frame as far as how long to be there, because right before we started recording, you were mentioning just how long it takes to get all the way down there, and you were coming from the DC area. So I think, 14, 15 hours of fly time just to make it to the region?
Yes, it's about 1 hour from São Paulo to arrive, but also you need to drive because the airport's not closed. If you go to Florianopolis, it's okay because there's another airport there, but to came to Blumenau, you also have some time to drive to Blumenau because there's no airport there. There's one, but it's just for private flights. It's like small airplanes, it's not open to commercial flights. Sure. So to go to Florianopolis is easier because there's another airport there. But the island is too big, so there's so many things to do. As I mentioned, there are more 40 options of beaches to go. Of course, there's the most popular one. So I think it's a little bit difficult to combine the two places because you cannot enjoy well. So if you go, for example, to Blumenau, I recommend to go to Blumenau and then go to Balneário Camboriú. It's another beach. It's close as well. It's like 1 hour and a half from Blumenau. So you can use the same trip to know beaches in Brazil and also the European Valley, and another trip to go to Florianopolis. And close to Florianopolis, there's other place that you can find. It's not in Florianopolis, it's another city, but you can find winery tours. So we have some winery place that you can spend the day drinking wine, have, I don't know, lunch or dinner there. And you also can combine to go this place. So the famous place is, oh gosh, I forgot the name. My friend, when she listened that, she will be mad with me because she's from that region. Urubici, the name of the city. And close to Urubici, there's other cities that you can find place to do that. So people go to Florianopolis, sometimes they combine to go to this region because it's not so like 2 hours or a little bit more. It depends the city that you want to go, but you can definitely go there to do that. And a little bit further than Florianopolis, you also can go to Praia Grande. The name is, I don't know exactly why it's praia, because praia is beach in Portuguese, but there's no beach there. Actually, it's a mountain, and you can see like canyon. We have some beautiful canyons there. And I have been there last year, first time, and it was really, really nice. The landscape's amazing. So you can see the canyons from Santa Catarina, and also the same place you can see from Rio Grande do Sul, the other state. It's different views if you came from Rio Grande do Sul or if you came to Santa Catarina. Yeah, we have a lot of things to do in Santa Catarina.
So looking at things from a traveler's perspective, for those that are willing to brave the journey all the way down there, the long travel time, how long would you recommend to really soak in the Santa Catarina area, and then maybe an estimate about a budget, because it's always important to know how much to bring with you?
But you mean Santa Catarina, like everything, to have an idea?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lifetime to really know an area, right? So no one can do that in a quick trip.
Just an overview.
I think I would say 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Like, you cannot spend a lot of time in all places, but at least to see the main attractions of the cities, and you can definitely start like in Blumenau and go to Florianopolis and the other cities that I mentioned to you in 2 weeks. In terms of how much money do you spend, I have no idea actually. I don't think it's expensive as to go to São Paulo, for example. São Paulo is a really expensive city in Brazil, so I would say it's not that expensive. Florianopolis is more expensive than Blumenau, for sure. For sure, it's not expensive at all.
It's a vacation spot, right?
Yeah, it's okay. But Florianopolis is more expensive. For example, if you go to the clubs, that part could be higher than São Paulo. But if you just wanna like to go to the beach and like I'm going to a club just to see how it is, or a beach club, something like that, it's okay. To go to the most famous period that people come to Florianopolis is the New Year's. A ticket to go to a party in a New Year's is really, really expensive. Sure. So I don't recommend that actually, because on this period is too busy. A lot of people came. So I think the best time of the year to come to Florianopolis is February, March. So I think the weather is still good and it's not crazy. But not came on the carnival as well, because carnival, it's insane in any city in Brazil during this period. So it's really busy. If you're looking for like, I'd like to enjoy the place, like the beach, the hiking, to do this kind of stuff, it's better when the city is not too busy.
And hiking's free, of course, so that's always good.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't need like a tour guide. You can go to like, there's some place that you can find maps, or even on the internet you can find. So you just need to of course to read the instructions, pay attention, because sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, the hiking, but usually has an instructor to do that kind of thing. So you don't need to have a tour guide. Also, I think this is a problem in Brazil. Most of people don't speak English. So this can be hard. And I think, but Brazilians are friends. So if somebody starts to speak with you and you don't, and they cannot speak English with you, you can just, I don't know, try to use the Google Translator or something like that. They will try to help you and you can figure it out. So But it's something that you need to keep in mind. So we speak Portuguese, and some people speak other language, but it's not like that common. Spanish, sometimes you can find some people like in Florianopolis, because there's a lot of tourists there from Argentina or other countries close here, like Uruguay, and because it's really close. So they came from Brazil by car. So because of that, some people in Florianopolis, for example, can speak Spanish, but English is a little bit more difficult. So this is something that is important to keep in mind.
That was actually my next question, because we were talking about so many languages: German, Italian, I think French came up at one point. So in terms of a second language, it's not necessarily required because Brazil is so large and people speak Portuguese. That's the common language, kind of like English is the common language for all the different ethnic groups that blend into the US. So I think that's pretty interesting. But
you can find people speaking a lot of different languages here in any cities because of the mix of countries, but our official language is Portuguese. So there's no English, or English is like the last option, I would say, because we're not colonized by any English country. So the most popular is any language from Europe. So German, Italian, Portuguese. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we were colonized by Portuguese. So that's the reason we speak Portuguese, but it's not the same as Portugal. So it's a Brazilian Portuguese, not Portugal.
Indeed.
Yeah, we're trying to, like some years ago, we tried to change our grammar rules in Portugal as well to be more similar, because in the past was really different. Nowadays is more like the accent, and there are some words that is not the same, but it's not so different. We trying to change it to be more close to. I can see when somebody from Portugal are speaking with me. It's like the accent's so different. But this is the same in Brazil. Like my accent here is totally different than a person from the Northeast, or other regions in Brazil. And we can tell, like, oh, these people are from, I don't know, Salvador or Rio de Janeiro. There are specific accents.
I'm sure you've seen that as well in the U.S. You've been to Miami, Orlando, New York, D.C. That's just on the East Coast. As soon as you start heading out west, it's a totally different ball game over there.
Yeah, exactly. And I in the U.S. I'm working like with people from Texas or this kind of region, so it's like totally different. So in Brazil is the same. And even like in the same state, you have different accents. Like in Santa Catarina, here in European Valley, is pretty much the same accent, but some cities, because, for example, in Blumenau, as I mentioned, the influence by German is a little bit different than if you go to, I don't know, Nova Trento. It's a Italian city. So you can see the difference between the cities as well, the accent of people there. So it's nice.
That's what's interesting. Even in one state, there's a lot of different diversity of accents, of heritage, of language. So that's something that's kind of unique in the world in terms of new world countries. So that's really that's great. So now we are going to move to our signature lightning round, 10 questions. Are you ready for the challenge?
Oh my God. I don't know. Let's see.
Let's find out, right?
Yeah.
So the first question is, one wish, what would it be?
Ooh. One wish is like for my life or for my region?
No, for your life.
What do you mean?
Yeah, in your
my life.
In your personal experience.
Well, I wish I can learn Italian one day. This is something that I really like and I really want since I was, I don't know, younger than I I am now. But I have to improve my English, and I need to learn Spanish as well because of my career, because it's important. So Italian will be like the last of my list. So this is something that I really want to do, but I have other priorities.
Of course. Well, you can already you can tick the box for English. That's taken care of. So on to the next one and the next language. Yeah, that's I'm in that process too. moving on to the languages. But that's interesting because, as you mentioned, Italian heritage, etc. I know Chris studied Italian for a while too. So
I tried.
No.
Didn't
I studied Italian when I was a child, but really, I don't know, I was 80 or something like that, but I don't remember any word. When I went to Italy, I could understand a little bit, but it's not the same. So it's more difficult than, for example, I have meetings in Spanish and I can understand, but Italian is not that easy for me so far. But it's something that I really wanna.
They do say it's harder as life goes on to learn a new language, but I think you have step one covered. It's a desire to do it. And that was the big thing for me. It was more just going through the motions. So nothing was really being absorbed. You already have English down. You've learned another language, I think, and you can comprehend Spanish, as you said. So if you want it, I think you can get it. No problem.
So the next question is,
I hope.
Which country do you want to visit the most and why?
Well, I haven't been in Israel. I want to go there again. This is a place that I really want to go back because of a lot of reasons. First, because I'm Catholic. For me, it was really nice when I went to Jerusalem. I saw the place there. It was, I don't know, I can't describe. It was really important to my life, and I really want to go there again. So I'm not traveler as you guys are, but I have been in, I don't know, 10 countries like Ireland, Spain, Italy, Mexico, Chile, Canada, Israel, and Turkey.
Well, you're a traveler, right there.
You're a traveler.
So I don't have like other place. Oh, where you want to go? I want to go to new place. Doesn't matter where the place is. I think I want to go to South Korea or Japan because it's totally different. Thailand, this kind of place that I never been yet. But when somebody asks me, I really want to go back to Israel and see some things that I couldn't see because I didn't have enough time. Yeah.
That's great, and that is quite the resume. Don't sell yourself short. That's quite a diversity of countries. So what's one thing in Brazil that you still really want to do?
Well, I think to keep, when I start to travel, I start to learn more about my country as well and my region, because I need to explain to people where I was born and all those things. So I really want to keep this, like, to talk about my country, because Brazilian is very popular, but a lot of people know just the same things, like carnival, beaches, and that's it. So I want to like to talk about my country more, to have other views about the countries, and that's the reason I accept your invite to come here. I actually don't. My desire for Brazil is, there's something that I cannot to do is like our economy. That's not good. I don't have much to do about it. Even just I can choose the right person to lead to govern the country. But I would like to talk. I think what I can do is to talk about my country and share the things that they can find here. I think that's the point. I try to help like poor people here as well when I have the opportunity, because as you know, Brazil is not a rich country, so we have a lot of issues in terms of poor people, and yeah. So this is something that I'm care about as well. So when I have the opportunity to help, I always help. But yeah.
Well, that's one of the big reasons we started this podcast, is for exactly what you said, is to shed light on more than just what each country is known for, more than the big city, more than what you'll see on the travel guides and real life experiences. So again, we appreciate you coming on and shedding some light on the entire region, because this is all brand new to me. I know very little about this. So you're accomplishing your goal just as this episode continues.
Good.
So what's the strangest thing you've eaten?
Well, I think because of German food, we mix a lot of things like some people don't do usually, like sweet and salt food. Here, we usually eat bread with, when I was a child, I used to do that. My grandmother usually prepare like a piece of bread with cheese and with sugar on the top.
Huh.
This is a little bit weird. So I used to eat that when I was a child. Nowadays I don't eat this anymore, but it was something that I always remember. My grandmother will always do that for me. So, and I think a lot of people keep doing that this here. We usually mix like bread with cheese and honey or this kind of things. Yeah, with sugar it's a little bit weird than honey.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I think it's good, but it's not healthy, So
yeah.
And it's not like any kind of bread. It's like handmade bread, like she used it to bake. So like a hot piece of bread, like she just took off the oven and put like cheese and sugar. So it's funny.
Sweet and salt.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Brazil?
The diversity. This is something that I really like. Yeah, I would say this, of everything, of culture, of people, of food. That some people ask me, are you going to Brazil, right? So what do you want to eat there? And I said, I will say something really weird now, because I really want to eat a really good sushi, because in the US you cannot find a really good sushi. So when I arrived in São Paulo, I went to a restaurant to eat sushi because the sushi in São Paulo. Oh, I can send to you a lot of names, but yeah, it's as I mentioned, it's a really big community in São Paulo, a Japanese community in São Paulo. So the sushi is really good. I already did that on Tuesday, so yeah. But you can find a lot of different foods here. It's not from Brazil sometimes. For example, the most popular food in Brazil is pão de queijo, I think. So this is from Minas Gerais state, but you can find in any city a really good pão de queijo. And this is something that I like from Brazil. So you have a lot of different foods, different cultures, different people, and the diversity in general is something that I really like.
Well, I'm going to be in Sao Paulo in just a few weeks, so I need some sushi recommendations because I'll be there for a couple of days.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
coming
okay.
down.
I can share with you.
I love it.
What do you think the must-see attraction is in Brazil for travelers?
I think the beach.
There are so many, I know. It's hard to pick one.
There's so many, but I definitely will say beach, because I have been some countries, as I mentioned, and I don't think the beaches are like the same as Brazil is. Our beach is much better. So maybe I so I never been in other beach that this is better than Brazil. Not yet. Maybe I went to the wrong place. But for me, because everything is really good, like the water, the sand, and you can find like a lot of, I don't know, wildlife as well. And or maybe my experience was really good because I have been, for example, in Fernando de Noronha, is an island in Brazil. This is like amazing. So
do a whole other
as
show
I mentioned,
on that.
So yeah, maybe. So there's, as I mentioned, Florianopolis, there are a lot of as well. So yeah, I was born in Dayal, but I was raised in Balneário Camboriú. It's a beach, so maybe that's the reason I like this part of Brazil so much.
No, definitely. And I can attest to that. The beaches are absolutely gorgeous. What is one
Yeah.
tip that you have for travelers?
Well, I think if you not speak Portuguese, as I said, is will be a little bit hard. Maybe you have to have a Google Translate, like you have internet here to do that, and also sunscreen, this kind of thing, because there's a lot of sun here. It's really hot. So yeah, this kind of advice will be good. Let me see if yeah, I think so.
Bring your SPF 100, everybody.
Yeah,
hot.
yeah. Sun's hot. Sun hot.
And you're right about Portuguese, because when I came to Brazil for the first time, I had taken Portuguese classes on Rosetta Stone, but that didn't do anything because I got here. They couldn't understand me. I couldn't understand them. Fortunately, my now wife was playing a translator.
Brazilian.
Yeah, exactly. But it's definitely challenging. But a few words always goes a long way. That's something we always tell travelers and listeners. Just learning hello, thank you shows that you're making effort and that you respect the people and the culture.
Yeah. But I don't know if you have a different view, but I think everybody is really like friendly. They try to help, even if don't speak any word in English. They will try to do something to help you. But sometimes, for example, I have some boss here in Brazil, and they are from, I don't know, the US, and I had some situations with them, like they are trying to buy food, and the people from the restaurant could not speak English, and usually another person like help, like a third person. I can help you because I know a little bit. So everybody help each other. If somebody see you in a situation, if you're alone, because you have your wife with you, but if you're alone, I'm sure that somebody else will try to help, because this is the Brazilian culture. If you saw some embarrassed situation or some difficulty that the people is dealing with, we try to help for sure.
Exactly right. Completely agree. What motivates you to travel?
To learn about new culture, try new foods, learn about the history of the place. I'm not good like with history, but I like this part of things. So yeah, I think the new inspire me a little bit. So that's the reason I choose the career that I have. I'm an auditor, and when I choose to be an auditor, one of the reasons was because usually, auditors need to travel. So I would say that most of my travels were because of my job, or because it was related to my job. For example, my first trip was my abroad trip was to Ireland to start to learn English. So, and I need that because of my job. That's the thing. I like to know, to meet new people, to talk with different people from different countries. So this thing is really nice about travel.
And as you said, it's kind of a connecting point on a map of the whole, not only history of the world, but people. We all only have a few degrees of separation between each other. So it's really interesting to see that the more you travel, the more your mind opens and you're experiencing new things, but also putting that together to say, okay, I remember this was like that in this place, and this is similar here. That's something that, as you mentioned, I really enjoy as well. And
absolutely. You find eventually that there's more similarities than there are differences. If you keep your eyes open and explore throughout there, you see there's more that connects us than divides us, which is always a good perspective.
Completely. And which mode of transportation do you recommend for Santa Catarina? I know we've already talked about it a little bit. You said you need a car coming in by flight. Do you recommend renting a car or taking a bus? Does it matter?
No, rent a car, definitely. There are some options to go by bus, but no, I would say it's better by car because you can also enjoy the view. You can see a lot of things. It's easier. So yeah, rent a car on the airport and go to Blumenau, to European Valley, and go to the beaches by car because it's better. And another thing that is now I didn't mention and I just remember, I think a lot of people know, but another tip that I think people need to be careful in Brazil is the crime. So it's not a safe country. It's not like you see a lot of time will happen, but you need to be careful. Like take care of your bag, take care of your stuff. You never, for example, if you're in a restaurant and you need to go to, I don't know, bathroom, never let your things on the table and leave because this is not safe. So, and also like the car, you need to take care where you leave your car, like parking. I always prefer to pay to park in some place that I know is safety and never pay to somebody else to parking on the street because sometimes it happens. You are parking on the street and somebody is asking like, hi, you need to pay like, I don't know, 10 reais. Like, come on, I'm on the street. I don't need to pay for you. So you need to be careful because this is something like happen a lot here. The good part, if you not speak Portuguese, you just say, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot understand, and go to another place and park in a safety place. So
I think it's a pretty good standard to
Cautions.
have even beyond Brazil or any place that's known to be a little bit unsafe. You know, as a traveler, just keep your belongings on you. Also, one of the benefits of traveling is that your mind is always on. You know, you have to make every decision every day. Where am I going to eat? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to sleep? So you're kind of already not, you know, you're not on this autopilot. So you remember those type of things.
And as you said, precautions. That's just anticipate ahead. Think, as Chris said, a step or two ahead, and you'll be fine. And final question is, one moment in your life that you could relive, what would that be? It's the hardest one for last, too.
Yeah. Well, I would say that I will spend more time here on my region, visiting the place here, because I know that there's a lot of beautiful place to go, but some place I never been, like to hiking or cycling around the region. So I will spend my time there because now, as you and Chris mentioned, I'm not living here anymore. So it's more complicated to do that. So when you are in a place, you never do some things that is like, oh, I can do like tomorrow. Something that I really want to do in the future when I came to visit my family is to do this kind of things that I never did before. So this is something that I would change if I could go back in time and also spend more time with my family, with my mother. But yeah, I think this is something that now I'm trying to do in DC, going to the tourist place because if you not do that, you never do. So yeah.
No, exactly right. And you take it for granted when it's in your backyard, whether, as you mentioned, it's family or places or friends, traditions. But as you move around the world and as you go to other places, you think, okay, I'm here now. I have to do this. I have to do that. So you have a different perspective on it. You take advantage of things that are there in the moment. Because for me, it's carpe diem, seize the moment. Because nothing is guaranteed. We have to live our lives, but also obviously be respectful of others, and of course, with time with family is precious. That's a great way to end the episode. Andrea, thank you so much for coming on We had a great time learning all about Santa Catarina. I know I learned a lot about places that I'd never even heard of, and looks like a beautiful state. As I said, I'm ready to go down to the rent-a-car and see how much it is to get down there.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful place in Brazil. So I always said that Santa Catarina is the better state. So when I moved to São Paulo, everybody asked me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from the best state in Brazil, Santa Catarina." So yeah, Santa Catarina is really nice. Yeah. So it was a pleasure to talk with you guys, and hope everybody enjoy and came to Santa Catarina, because it's a really place to come to visit in Brazil.
It was a great time for sure. And I definitely want those sushi recommendations for Sao Paulo before I get down there. So I'll be reaching out. Thank you again.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, guys.
So without further ado, we're back with another fun fact about Brazil. Brazil actually has the largest population of Japanese outside of Japan, and also the largest population of Italians in the world. I know when we think about those two groups, Italians, we think New York and a few other places, but Japanese especially, it's really diverse, and can't overstate that. But as we heard in the episode, Italian cuisine and lineage is really fundamental, especially in the European Valley. Till next time.
Well, there you have it. Another fun fact about a locale unknown. Thank you, Winfield, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode with us. We started this podcast in the hopes of shedding some light on the various destinations out there in the world that might be more off the beaten path. And we're hoping we're accomplishing that goal by bringing on our friends and our various guests to give us some insight about their various locations and what to do in the areas. So if you like what you hear, make sure that you follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as the social media platforms out there, because we're back every single week. I wouldn't want you to miss what we have coming up. We already have a couple great guests in the pipeline that we are very excited for, and I think you guys will be too. So we are on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on all the other platforms. Locales Unknown. Go ahead and hit the search. When you find us, be sure to hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you're an Apple Podcast user out there, please let us know how we're doing. We're building this for you guys. So scroll down to the bottom of Apple Podcasts and go ahead and leave us a review and maybe some comments there. Also on social media, we are very active on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. We have our YouTube channel, so feel free to go ahead and drop us a line. We have our website, localesunknown.com. You can find all of our episodes there. And if you want to reach us directly, we have our email address, contact@localesunknown.com. Maybe you have some suggestions for us. Maybe you want to introduce us to someone that you think might be a great fit for the show. We are all ears. So once again, thank you so much for listening. We'll be right back here next week with another great episode somewhere out there in the world. Stay tuned.